They look like Holocaust survivors coming out of Gaza. And I have to say that it's not that Gaza lacks food or humanitarian aid, because Israel actually facilitated over 1 million tons of humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip since the beginning of the war. That's probably more aid that went into the Gaza Strip than aid that went into Afghanistan. So this is a planned starvation that they did on purpose.
Peace may be about to break out in the world's most unstable and chaotic region. Between President Trump's return to office and Israel's demolition of Iran's Ring of Fire, things may be looking up for the Middle East. So what comes next for Israel and the region, and why does it matter to you? Joining us now from Israel to break it down is our good friend Hananya Naftali. He's a journalist, commentator, and leading pro-Israel activist. He works closely with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's digital team and has over 2 million followers across social media. Hananya, always great to see you, my friend. And, you know, the images we saw over the weekend, absolutely horrific, of 3 emaciated Israeli hostages released by Hamas. Prime Minister Netanyahu is outraged. President Trump expressed his outrage. The world is outraged. Is there anything that can be done, Hananya, in these upcoming hostage releases to prevent the kinds of scenes we saw in Gaza over the weekend?
Look, we definitely have seen really horrific images coming out of the Gaza Strip with the release of the recent 3 hostages, and seeing them so thin, they lost 30% of their weight. They look like Holocaust survivors coming out of Gaza. And I have to say that it's not that Gaza lacks food or humanitarian aid, because Israel actually facilitated over 1 million tons of humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip since the beginning of the war. That's probably more aid that went into the Gaza Strip than aid that went into Afghanistan. So this is a planned starvation that they did on purpose. And while we're talking about this topic, we have to remember that Hamas still holds 6 American hostages. Hamas is not a freedom movement. It's a terrorist organization like Al-Qaeda and like ISIS.
Yeah.
So I have to say, if America had Al-Qaeda on its borders, it would also take decisive action.
Yeah, Hananya, great points all around. And now that President Trump is back in office, we've talked about the Trump effect. We're seeing the needle move in Gaza, perhaps, this relocation plan that he floated last week in D.C. during his meeting with Bibi. And look, Hananya, to me, this seems like a common sense, outside the box proposal. No one else has suggested anything original in years. I think this could actually work. And Prime Minister Netanyahu seems encouraged by it as well. What's your take on President Trump's proposal for Gaza?
Well, look, it obviously shocked the entire world, I think people are scared of or afraid of changes. But the Middle East, let's keep in mind, has radical problems, and radical problems require radical solutions. So that's my take on this. But I also have to say that this proposal does not violate international law, because international law prohibits the forceful removal of people from their homes, but it does not prohibit the will of people to leave their homes. I just have to point out that this hits a personal point for me, because I and my family, we were expelled out of our homes in Judea and Samaria. Jews were expelled out of their homes forcefully, but the world called this a step towards peace. But now, when Trump suggests to actually relocate Palestinians in order to bring peace and stability, so to that they're saying ethnic cleansing and genocide. Look, Trump brought 4 peace agreements to the Middle East after a quarter of a century that no peace has been made. So it looks like he knows what he's doing. And in the meantime, what are the people that are protesting against him? What are they doing? They just love to hate just because they don't like Trump and they don't like Israel. That's at least how I see things.
Yeah, key point about a minute before the break, Hananya. Can you just break down so people know just the culture of radicalism, jihad, and evil that is so deeply embedded in Gaza and why that needs to change. We've got about a minute left.
So look, I have to say you have Palestinians being held in the Gaza Strip. Many of them want to leave, and now Trump actually suggests them to open the doors. And now the whole world is waking up and demanding them to basically stay there. So I think that this is just absurd, especially people that are calling Gaza an open air prison. So do you want them to stay in this open air prisons, quote unquote? Open the doors, let them leave. There are a lot of people that are asking to leave. So I think that all the people that are protesting against it are only showing that they don't care about the Palestinians. They only care about hating Israel.
So true. And reminder for everyone that the Palestinian people in Gaza voted for Hamas back in 2006. Coming up after the break, more with Hananya Naftali. What about Iran's Ring of Fire, that network of terror proxies? And what about Iran's nuclear program? What comes next there? Is this the year of reckoning? More with Hananya Naftali after the break. Stick around. Welcome back to Stakelbeck Tonight. We're talking to Israeli commentator, activist, journalist Hananya Naftali. Before we go back to Hananya, I want you to take a look at this excerpt from an interview Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu did with Fox News' Mark Levin over the weekend. He talked about the demolition of that Iranian network of proxies, the Ring of Fire. Take a look.
First, we take Hamas. Then we go for Hezbollah. These are the two tentacles of this toxic Iranian octopus. But ultimately, I knew that we were facing Iran. So we tear down the Iran axis, and that's what we proceeded to do. We finished Hamas, turned to the north, to Hezbollah, surprised them with the pagers. Then we destroyed the vast missile and rocket arsenal that they built over decades. And then we got Nasrallah. And I decided he has to be knocked out because he was the axis of the Iranian axis. Syria collapsed right after that. And so most of the Iran axis has been has been decimated.
Hananya Naftali is back with us. And Hananya, I thought the Prime Minister just laid it out in really stunning detail. To me, it's miraculous what Israel has done. The Ring of Fire is now essentially a smoldering heap of ruins. Can you talk about the advances Israel has made in just the past few months alone in, as the Prime Minister said, dismantling Iran's network of proxies?
Look, so if we look at it from a broader perspective, Iran spent billions of dollars to build this axis of resistance, as they call it, using Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis in Yemen, Islamic Jihad, some terror groups, individual groups in Judea and Samaria, all with the aim to destroy Israel. I guess they didn't read the Bible because Israel did not lose a war waged against it. So Iran basically is trying to choke Israel, base itself militarily around Israel. But we saw with this war that they failed big time. This small country, Israel, managed to crush Hezbollah, crush Hamas, and while dealing with a 7 multi-front war, I have to say. So it's a big loss for and defeat for the Islamic regime in Iran, which, by the way, they are marking 46 years to the Islamic Revolution. Is it today or tomorrow?
Yeah.
But while they're doing that, it's interesting to remember that they don't have the support of the Iranian people. This is a regime that calls you guys in America the big Satan, as the Prime Minister likes to say, and Israel the little Satan. So we are facing an evil enemy that wants to destroy you guys in America as well, except that we in Israel are putting a stop to it. by fighting radical Islam that wants to eventually get to you guys. They see you as a problem, and they see Israel as an outpost of democracy, a strong ally of Israel, of the United States here in the Middle East.
Yeah, Israel is the first line of defense for Western civilization, Hananya. Great point there. About a minute left before we go. We talked about the dismantling of Iran's Ring of Fire. Also, Iran's air defenses were destroyed by Israel back in October, and now there's a clear path to Iran's nuclear program. About a minute left. Do you think this could be the year of reckoning for Iran's nuclear program?
Look, I think it's very interesting to look at what the prime minister was saying earlier. The Iranians are quite frankly days from enriching enough uranium in order to achieve nuclear bomb or something similar. We are going to see critical days are ahead of Western civilization, because we're seeing strong leadership that is not afraid to have a backbone and to take a stand for the people. And I think that's what a lot of Israelis appreciate President Trump for, because he's not afraid to suggest new things and to do things that so many leaders were afraid to do. So I think that this combination of Trump and Netanyahu working together is going to bring incredible results.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed on all points, Hananya. Momentous times in the world's most volatile region, but exciting times as well. For the first time in a long time, things may actually be looking up in the Middle East thanks to that strong leadership you cited. President Trump and Bibi working together. Hey, folks, follow Hananya on X, Instagram, across social media. Hananya, great job as always, my friend. God bless.
Stakelbeck Tonight, my all-new nightly series on current events through a bold biblical lens. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an upload, and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. And don't forget to share your thoughts, insights, and comments below. Thanks for watching, and God bless.